Hey, welcome back to EDUC 3233. We are continuing our discussion on motivation. This is the third lecture, the last lecture on motivation. So we're looking at the development of academic motivation, so reasons for engagement, trying to think about reasons why students choose or choose not to engage in academics. Um, so thinking about kind of defining reasons for being engaged, we can look at motivation again. Why do we do what we do? Several theories might point to this. There's self-efficacy, for example. Can I do this? If I feel confident, I'm more likely to do it. If I don't feel confident, I'm less likely to do this. Why do I want to do this or not? That starts getting into things like intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic, are you motivated from within? Or extrinsically motivated? Is there some kind of outside motivation going on? What kind of goal orientation do you have? Is your goal all about learning as much as possible, for example? Is it all about looking good in front of others, or is it about avoiding looking bad in front of others? There's different kinds of goal orientations that can also influence engagement in the classroom. And then the kind of the cost, what kind of cost does it take, and just think of an example like, to be a good student costs time, I mean, that's time that you could be using to spend with your friends or watching TV or maybe engaging in some kind of hobby you like, but instead you're using that time to study for your classes. So that's kind of what I mean by a cost. So we're going to kind of explore more of that intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. That we tend to see, for the most part, intrinsic motivation, kind of that personal motivation from within, kind of declines. Usually starts off pretty high, but over time starts to decline. And you can kind of see the opposite almost happening with extrinsic motivation. It starts off high, kind of dips a little bit, and then usually by those middle school grades, extrinsic motivation is starting to catch up with intrinsic motivation. And to be honest, we need a little bit of both. It's nice to be sort of intrinsically motivated and driven from within, but we also sometimes need that kind of outside engagement or outside motivation to kind of engage us as well. So think about your own performance in this class. I'm sure many of you probably have motivation to do well in this class. Maybe you have an inner drive to just be successful. But there's also some people who really like that, they like seeing the letter grade at the end of they like seeing their transcript and going, oh, I got an A or I got all A's. That makes me feel good about myself. So implications for education, you're going to have to kind of realize that when you're working with students, their levels of motivation, there's never going to be an absence of motivation in a classroom, but what motivation looks like and what motivates different students will look differently across kind of time and place. So that's important to keep in mind. And, there are ways in which you can foster motivation, but that's you're going to get more into that in the readings and things like that. So that's going to be the end for this particular lecture. We're going to stop here and we'll pick back up in our next section. I think we're at this point, we're at the halfway point of the course. So pat yourself on the back.